Hey guys, man Derek Gould here, doing, at long last, revealing of my movie collection. Every single movie I own is about to be shown. And yes, that is a Legend of Zelda poster in the background with my computer displaying some future movies that are coming out eventually. Displaying some posters for those. Right now we got Escape Plan and that's Jack Ryan. Okay, so this is going to be in alphabetical order. And because my Blu-ray collection, which is right here, you can't see it, but... oh, shit. My Blu-ray collection is significantly smaller than my DVD collection, if you can believe that. So we're going to start with the Blu-rays. Oops. And I have no idea how long this is going to take, so you might have to stop and come back eventually. But, at long last, here is my entire movie collection. Here we go. Starting with the A's, we have the complete Alien Anthology. You can see Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection, and the making of the Alien Anthology, the Alien Anthology Archives, and you got a book right here, and something else, not really sure. Don't have time to go into detail on these. Gotta keep moving. We'll talk about them individually in their own videos, and just to point out one thing, you see a movie in here you want me to review in its own video, leave a comment, and I'll put it on my long list of things to do. Let's keep moving. Another Stakeout. Good movie. Underrated in my opinion. Not as good as the original, but worth a watch. Avatar. No words to be said about this movie. Must have on Blu-ray. Batman Begins, part 1 of an epic trilogy. The Dark Knight, possibly the best of the trilogy, with Heath Ledger's unforgettable performance as the Joker. And The Dark Knight Rises. My personal favorite of the trilogy, but some people didn't like it, but I love it. Ben-Hur, a terrific classic, looks excellent on Blu-ray. Bridge on the River Kwai, haven't watched the whole thing yet, gotta go back and rewatch it eventually, but from what I've seen so far, terrific movie. I can see why this won so many awards back in the day. Okay, Casablanca, another classic, looks excellent on Blu-ray. This is, without a doubt, one of the best movies ever made. Terrific movie. If you love classic movies like me, seek this movie out if you haven't seen it. The Essential just started there for a second. The Essential Arnold Schwarzenegger movie for any Arnold fan, Commando. As such an over-the-top action movie in every way of the definition of over-the-top. But you know what? It is so self-aware of what it is that it makes it even more awesome because it knows it's so over-the-top and it wants to be over-the-top, and it's so full with the one-liners. It's got everything that just is associated with Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, and it's so awesome because of that. Creepshow, a really creepy movie from George A. Romero and Stephen King. Looks great on Blu-ray. Really creepy, not gonna lie. That freaking one with the bugs, that one scares the crap out of me. Date Night, one of the funniest movies I have ever seen. Probably one of my favorite movies of Steve Carell. And the reason I love his comedy so much is because he relies on dry humor. He doesn't have to act like a fucking idiot like Will Ferrell does in so many of his movies. You know, he doesn't have to scream out loud when he's trying to emphasize that he's telling a joke. He just is down to earth, and Tina Fey and him were great together. I really would love to see them do another movie together. The 1990s Bram Stoker's Dracula, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, looks good on looks great on Blu-ray. The movie in itself is kind of eh. I'm thinking about doing a horror movie themed thing for October. Probably will include this, talk about it in more detail there, but so far just a kind of movie. Sorry about the cut there, guys. I had to fix something with my camera. It was acting funny, but moving on, next in our Blu-ray collection, E.T. the Extraterrestrial Steelbook Edition. This is the best phenomenal transfer, one of my favorite movies ever. Steven Spielberg This is a must-have on Blu-rays if you collect Blu-rays. I'm just starting to do it, but I'm very selective with it. But terrific Blu-ray movie, and it's the original theatrical edition from 1982. Not that crappy CGI 2002 re-release, which thank God Steven Spielberg has come out and said he will never ever George Lucas his movies ever again. Yeah, that should be a saying when you change your movie from its original format to something else. That should be called George Lucasing. We'll get to that later. Excalibur, classic movie, one of the first fantasy movies really that were live action, because before 1980s, like all fantasy movies really were animation. But pretty much the mythology I was taught by my mythology teacher, and if you're friends with me on Facebook and you went to my old high school, you know exactly who that teacher is. Not going to say any names on here, but this follows the mythology that I was taught incredibly well. I mean, I'm surprised how well it actually follows it. Moving on, though, Gould on Blu-ray. You like fantasy movies? I recommend a watch. Fast and Furious, the complete collection. This is The Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, The Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious 4, Fast and Furious 5. That's a mouthful. I love all these movies. The best one is definitely 6. 6 just blew me away. I love 6. I will get 6 when it comes out. I will get 6 on Blu-ray when it comes out because I've loved it that much. Before that, with Fast and 5 was the best one. But I truly think the weakest is Tokyo Drift, and I think the reason why it was the weakest was because it was kind of a standalone movie until now, of course. But I love the whole trilogy. They're awesome action movies that are very well made. And Vin Diesel, man, he does something for me. Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner. Terrific movie. Very good adapted from the book, Shoeless Joe. It's kind of sad because this movie's kind of becoming a underrated movie. Nowadays, it was a big hit when it came. It was a hit when it came out, but now it's kind of becoming an underrated film just through the course of time. And I really don't want that to happen because this is a great movie. Worthy of any Oscars that it might have won. The Final Countdown. Another underrated science fiction, another underrated movie. I just recently got this one. I love it. I really don't want to talk too much about it because I got so many movies to talk about, but if you've seen this movie and you like it, I'm with you, and I'm probably going to do my own movie review for this because there's so much I want to say about this movie, but just can't right now. The Gamera Trilogy. The 1990s Gamera Trilogy. Awesome monster movies. These are one of the best monster movies I've ever seen. I mean, the reason why I love them is because they're dark and they're gritty and they try to really take what they're doing very seriously, and you buy it. You know, like this movie makes me believe that a giant turtle that has self-propelling jet propulsion inside of him that can spit fireballs is real. Like these movies do it. And they're so dark and gritty and down to earth, and they really take what they're doing seriously. That's what makes them so awesome. The Godfather, one of the best movies ever made, one of the best movies I've ever seen. This is in my top 20 without a doubt. Can't say it's in my top 10 just because there's so many nostalgic movies up there, but if you haven't seen The Godfather, everything you need to know about life you can learn from the movie The Godfather. And that is a quote from the show. That doesn't matter. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. The only Harry Potter movie I have on Blu-ray. First off, I love this entire franchise. And this is like the best way to end a franchise ever. It's like, anyone that complains about that this movie doesn't have character development or anything, that's why it's called Part 2, you dumbass. This is supposed to be Wizard Armageddon. Shit hits the fan big time. And it's the war for Hogwarts. And perfect conclusion. I'm going to talk about all those movies in their own review eventually. The Hobbit and Unexpected Journey. This movie is like outstanding Blu-ray quality. And you can tell that they definitely shot it in 4K resolution. And you can like even see it through the Blu-ray. You can see that they filmed it in 4K. Just because of how much detail there is and everything. And I love this movie. When I first saw it in theaters, I didn't hate it. I did not hate it. I really enjoyed it, but it felt like there was something to be desired And I really hope the decimation of smog fixes that. But when I bought this movie on Blu-ray, because it was on sale at FYE, I fell in love with this movie. I love it now. It is phenomenal. I don't know why I ever had doubts about it. Inception, freaking awesome science fiction movie by Christopher Nolan that just combines action, science fiction, and it makes me afraid to want to sleep. I mean, someone could just hijack my dreams somehow through a thing that goes in your bloodstream, not your head, but who gives a crap? Who questions logic when you're talking about a movie with dreams? Anything is possible. Dun 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 dun. Jaws. Without a doubt, the best Blu-ray transfer I've ever seen. The first time I watched this on Blu-ray, I was blown away as to how good it looks. I mean, I saw things in detail, like on the ocean, that I would never see on the DVD. And I actually am glad this includes the DVD in this Blu-ray pack, because I want to watch the DVD eventually alongside the Blu-ray and just watch both of them at the same time and just compare them to. I gotta do that eventually. And my all-time favorite movie / trilogy, well, kind of, Jurassic Park: The Ultimate Trilogy. You should all know by now, Jurassic Park is my all-time favorite film. I love The Lost World, Jurassic Park, and Jurassic Park 3 just sucks. And the only reason they have the trilogy and not like individual Jurassic Park and The Lost World Jurassic Park is because at the time when I bought this, it was on sale for $40 used at FYE, and they didn't have the movies individually yet. They weren't going to be individually for 7 more months, and I said, screw it, I'm just buying them all. Because Jurassic Park 3, even though I hate it, it's part of the franchise, and I got to include it in the franchise. Moving on, one of my favorite movies from recent years that I've seen, Legend. Oh my god, this movie, I am amazed at how much I love this movie. I mean, hold on. Don't want the neighbors to think I'm like talking to nobody or something. Legend, the Ultimate Edition, is a must-have on Blu-ray if you like collecting movies. And it's by Ridley Scott, the guy that brought us Alien. I can't give this movie enough praise. It is a very underrated movie that really deserves recognition, especially the director's cut of this movie. I gotta talk about this movie really quick. Just trying to do this quickly. The theatrical version, the director's cut, I have never seen a director's cut be more different from the original than this, because the theatrical cut is 130 minutes long. The director's cut is almost 2 hours long. That's how much difference there is between the theatrical cut and the director's cut, and just the director's cut, everything is so much better. The characters are more well written and fleshed out. We do not see the villain until the last 15 minutes of the movie, which is the best way to show off a villain such as the Lord of Darkness. I mean, the theatrical cut showed him right in the beginning and just ruins the whole surprise of his big epic reveal in the end of the movie. I can't give that movie enough praise. I love it. Legend of Korra. Book 1 Air. I am currently watching Season 2 on Nickelodeon. The only animation I watch nowadays. I love it. This is a terrific follow-up to Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I love how they really are acknowledging that it's for the original fans, with some appeal to new demographic or whatever, but it acknowledges that it's for the original fans because it's definitely darker. I mean, the last episode I watched, they threw the word assassinate at the people. They threw the word assassinate! That's a deep word. That's heavy. It's awesome. Lincoln. Steven Spielberg, man. That dude knows how to fucking make movies. Daniel Day-Lewis deserved that Oscar without a doubt. This was probably... as much as I loved Argo, and we'll talk about that when I get to it, this is the movie I think should have won Best Picture. I still believe that. I will defend Lincoln to the grave. This is a terrific movie. Steven Spielberg, you are the man. Princess Bride, a terrific comedy from the 1980s. This is where the famous saying, "You killed my father, prepare to die." This is where that saying comes from. And I'm sure there's a lot of other sayings I can think of that I just can't think of them at the moment because I haven't seen the movie in about a month. But, or a while. Great comedy. You want a good laugh, watch that movie. Another good comedy, Spaceballs. There are just so many. Mel Brooks, man. Why'd you stop making comedies? I mean, you know how to freaking make comedies, man. You freaking Spaceballs, Blazing Saddles, and Young Frankenstein. Just great comedies. Just they knew how to parody what they were parodying. It's like Mel Brooks understood the original source material, and he made great jokes because of it. Spaceballs, man. And my current favorite Marvel film, Thor. I love the Avengers and all of those, but this Thor, man, I love Thor. I don't know what it is about this movie. I just think Thor is my favorite Marvel movie. I like it more than Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America. I like it more than the Avengers. And I especially love it more than Iron Man 3, which sucked a whole lot of ass. Thor, man, it's great. I love it. It's my favorite Marvel movie. Walking Dead, the complete first season. The only season I have on Blu-ray. This is a very, very well done show. I mean, I can't even really talk about it without wasting any more time. Just if you've seen The Walking Dead, you know how great it is. Another underrated movie, Watchmen. This movie was a moderate hit when it came out, but a lot of people I know really still recognize it as a great movie, and it looks terrific on Blu-ray. The director's cut is like freaking over 3 hours long, and I think it's awesome. It's definitely a very different take on your traditional superhero movies, and it's DC, so you would expect that, but I mean, just a very interesting movie. I don't get why so many people... I know there's a lot of people out there that love this movie, but I also know at the time there was a lot of people that really did not like the movie. I was the people that loved the movie, because when I first saw it, my cousins were younger, and so was I, but I was still old enough to understand a lot of things. I loved it, and they were like, eh? But nowadays, they've rewatched it, and they love it too. You gotta be old enough to understand this movie. It's a great movie. And I was mentioning this earlier, Young Frankenstein by Mel Brooks film. Probably one of the first parodies that really like completely parodies what a source material, Frankenstein. Great comedy. I love that they filmed it in black and white and everything. Looks great on Blu-ray. And also, a little quick fact, this is the movie where the dramatic chipmunk music comes from. In case you didn't know that. That's my Blu-rays. Oh, let's get down and dirty now, people. Okay. First stack of DVDs, in alphabetical order. First, The Abyss. An underrated movie by James Cameron, believe it or not. I know some people like this movie, some people don't. If you don't like this movie, I get why, but I enjoy it, you know. Definitely underrated in my opinion. One of the best action movies to come out of the 90s. Air Force One, starring Harrison Ford and Gary Oldman. Harrison Ford, man, and Gary Oldman on screen, they kick a whole bunch of ass. What was it about the 90s and 80s that just had great action movies? And it's like they knew what they were. They weren't trying to be something stupid or besides an action movie. They knew what they were and they went along with it. Great action movie. I love it. Another mixed bag. Anaconda. You may or may not like this movie. I kind of grew up... I didn't necessarily grow up watching it, but I saw it when I was younger and I enjoyed it. And I love snakes. I don't get why so many people are afraid of snakes. I think snakes are awesome. Now, spiders, on the other hand, I hate spiders. But snakes, man, I love snakes. Snakes kick ass. And that's why I enjoy Anaconda. Next, we have Anger Management, an Adam Sandler comedy back when he was making good movies. And him and Jack Nicholson have so much awesome on-screen chemistry in this movie, it's hilarious. One of my favorite animated movies, Ants. Probably the only animated movie you're going to see in this collection as far as I remember. Great movie. I've said that for every movie I've reviewed, I've shown, haven't I? But if I own it, that means I think it's great, or I love it, or I think it's good. Good enough to own. But good comedy, animated movie. I grew up watching it, so a lot of nostalgia for it. And I love the gag, who the hell is that? And next we have Apocalypse Now. Probably one of the best war movies out there, but you may or may not like it. It is a very long war movie, to say the least. By Francis Ford Coppola, and stars the guy from The Godfather, Martin Brando. I think that's how you say his name. I probably fucked that up. I'm sorry with names. But, one of the best movies ever right there. Tom Hanks. Apollo 13. Houston, we have a problem. Yes, you do have a problem when your ship breaks while you're on the way to the moon and you got to get back to Earth. Great movie by Ron Howard. I was talking about you earlier. Argo. Won Best Picture last year. I loved it. Great thriller. Terrifically made movie. But I disagree on its Best Picture win. I think they should have gone to Lincoln. That's why you're on DVD and Lincoln's on Blu-ray. Armageddon. A movie I grew up watching and I still to this day really enjoy. You may or may not like it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there really don't like it. And that's perfectly fine. I understand why. It is a Michael Bay movie. And a lot of people out there really don't like Michael Bay. And I understand exactly why they don't like Michael Bay. But I grew up watching this movie, so I have a lot of nostalgia for it. And Bruce Willis, man. He knows how to act. And these movies are all in one series, so I'm just going to look at them all together. The Austin Powers trilogy. My favorite one is Goldmember. I love Goldmember. They're all hilarious. That's pretty obvious, isn't it? If you haven't seen the Austin Powers movies, see the Austin Powers movies. That's just one stack. Jesus Christ. Do I really have to look at all these? Alright. Just because I want to speed things up a little bit. Here is the first stack with Avatar: The Last Airbender, the entire animation. Hold on, I'll look at them each individual seasons. Here's season 1. Probably the weakest of the seasons, in my opinion. Just because I felt like the show is full of so much filler episodes. They're not all necessarily filler, but a lot of them are. Especially The Great Divide. That episode could have been cut right out. It added absolutely nothing to the story of the characters. But honestly, I think the problem was they were really just trying to figure out where they wanted to take the series. They were still trying to rough out the story. They didn't know exactly what worked and what didn't work yet. So they kind of had a few hit and miss episodes in there. But it's a great season. But this isn't what hooked the season. I watched the first few episodes when they premiered. And then I watched the season conclusion. And, so, yeah. This just makes my job easier later when I gotta pick this up. Now we got what got me hooked. Season 2, man. Season 2, book Earth, where they meet Toph, the blind earthbender. Zuko goes out alone. Freaking Azula's in there now. And they got Ba Sing Se, they got the drill. And this was the season that hooked me on the show to the point where I love it as much as I do now. And it had probably the most pissed off. I actually remember there was a petition when the season first came out that people actually wanted the creators to go back and change the ending of season 2. Like, that's how pissed off people were for that ending, because they knew they would have to wait over a year to see how the entire franchise would come to an end in season 3, Fire. I'm just going to say, Katara is hot in the red outfit. Okay, now that I got that out of the way, this is the darkest of the season. The fucking conclusion, man. Sozin's Comet, the final battle, should have been like the one-night limited theatrical release. I would have went to see that. I would have paid for that. I mean, they should have did that release, like, the final 4 episodes on the big screen for, like, one night only, and also have it on TV, too, but, like, they should have done that. I mean, that was, they really should have. And, the darkest of all the seasons, without a doubt, and probably, in my opinion, my favorite season, but, because that's when Zuko becomes good and everything, and I'm spoiling the show. If you haven't seen the show, really check it out. It really, people of all ages really can get into the show. Okay, that's that's one pile out of the way. Okay, next we have Marvel's Avengers, the biggest hit of last year. Last year. I love this movie. Everybody loved this movie apparently because it made over $1 billion and it freaking currently still holds the record for the biggest opening of all time. I think I ended up seeing this movie 3 times. My favorite character though in this movie is Thor and Hulk. Just the freaking part when Thor and Hulk are fighting, I loved it. Loki is a terrific villain. Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury is like perfect. And just the part when like Loki's like yelling at the Hulk and he's like, Puny God. I LOL'd so hard there. Babylon AD. A lot of people do not like this movie. A lot of people probably don't even know this movie exists. And the only reason I own it is because Vin Diesel, man. The dude does something for me. The essential 1980s/90s trilogy. Back to the Future. Dun, 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 dun. Great Scott. This is a terrific franchise, and I actually just recently got to see Back to the Future on the big screen. My local drive-in was doing a retro weekend, and I think 2 weekends ago, one of the movies they were showing was Jaws and Back to the Future, and it looked great. It was quite an experience to see that. These are a franchise, so I'm just going to do them both together. Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2. These are the kind of movies Michael Bay should make, because I feel like when he does movies like these, people actually enjoy them, and they don't bitch about them, because Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2 are action comedies, and they are... This one is really, like, more about the action and story and all that, where this one definitely tried to go a lot more towards comedy. I enjoy them both, but I really can't tell you which one I like more. I laughed a lot harder at this one, but I gotta say I enjoyed this one a lot more. It's the better one, but it's okay. And the 1980s and 90s Batman franchise. I loved Batman. Batman Returns is okay. I really enjoyed Batman Forever. I grew up watching it. This is actually just the trilogy, you know, it's just Batman, Batman Forever, and Batman Returns, you know, it's not, alright, fine, Batman and Robin is included in this, and that movie can burn in hell for all I give a shit. It's one of the worst movies I have ever seen. I hate it. Freaking waste of talent all around. George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Uma Thurman. Uma Thurman won an Oscar before she did this movie. What the frick? This movie just sucks. But I'll tell you right now, if you want a movie just to get your friends at a party, get some bunch of alcohol, just start downing that shit, and pop this movie in and roast the hell out of it, you guys are going to have a great time. Another movie I grew up watching and I think is still funny as hell, Beavis and Butthead Do America. I like the show, but I just thought that this movie, man, was hilarious. I mean, freaking Beavis and Butthead go on an adventure to find their TV, and they end up getting picked up by this guy voiced by Bruce Willis who wants them to do his wife, and they think that means he wants them to score with his wife, but he really wants them to kill his wife. Then they meet up with her, and she tells them to go on this bus to Washington D.C., and hijinks ensue, and it's hilarious, man. Beetlejuice. Michael Keaton, man. I could never imagine that this guy was going to go on to play Batman. I think people back in the 80s were quite surprised when they announced Michael Keaton was going to play Batman, because how could this guy possibly play Batman? But he did, and he did awesome with it, and he's awesome in this movie. Go ahead, make my millennium. Good movie. Tim Burton, he knows how to make some really twisted but awesome movies. Another Adam Sandler comedy, Big Daddy. Funny as hell. Love it. Grew up watching it. Big Mama's House. You might or may not like this movie. I think it's funny, and so that's why I have it. And I grew up watching it. Another pile down. Another pile to go, and then that takes care of all the piles in this big TV stand. Another Adam Sandler movie, Billy Madison, the movie that almost certainly got him recognized. Adam Sandler, man, what happened to you? Why'd you stop making good comedies like this? Come on, man. I don't want to see Grown Ups 2. I want to see you do something like Happy Gilmore again. Funny movie, but just it's sad because Adam Sandler used to be funny, and he's not funny anymore. Classic Hitchcock movie, The Birds. I haven't watched this in a while, but I do remember really enjoying it, even though the effects are incredibly dated. But Alfred Hitchcock knows how to keep you in suspense, and it still lasts to this day. One of the most controversial science fiction movies that you may either hate or you love, Blade Runner, and this is the final cut. Another Ridley Scott movie, the guy that directed Legend and the original Alien. This movie is really popular nowadays, but the way I look at it, you're either going to hate this movie or you're going to love this movie. I love this movie, but it's really, I think the problem is it's so out there, and just the story, if you blink watching this movie, you're going to miss something and you're going to be lost. I'm just going to say that, but if you can actually have the brains for it, it's a great film. One of the best. Another Mel Brooks film, the last one I believe that I own. Blazing Saddles, man. Right now I feel like going to eat a can of beans and eating some bread near a campfire with a whole bunch of cowboys. And if you've seen the movie, you know what that's a reference to. The famous, first ever, I believe, fart joke. Yeah, this movie is where the fart joke comes from. And this movie knew how to use it, man. That fart joke was funny. The Bodyguard, bought this after Whitney Houston sadly passed away. Was it last year? Yes. And I can see now why this movie made so much money and why the soundtrack to this movie is one of the best-selling soundtracks ever. I'll have to get a drink soon. But just... wow. I enjoyed it, even though the critics kind of really didn't. But the public did. Captain America, the First Avenger. A lot of people kind of were... Of all the Marvel movies, this one and The Incredible Hulk during Phase 1 were the ones that were kind of the oddballs that people either hated or didn't like. I liked it, even though it is directed by Joe Johnston, who I have a personal hatred for because he ruined Jurassic Park by directing Jurassic Park 3. But that aside, I will say he did a good job with this movie, and that he should stay away from Jurassic Park and never touch that franchise again with a 9-foot pole. Because if he does, I will kill him. Not really, but I will get pissed. But he did good with this movie. Why isn't he directing the Captain America sequel? I mean, come on, that's what he should be doing. Another movie I grew up watching that you probably are mixed about, but I grew up watching it and I always kind of got a kick out of it. Casper. The 1995 theatrical smash hit starring Bill Pullman and Christina Ricci. What? How the hell you say that? It's okay. Not today's standard, but when I was a kid, I loved it, and it was $5 at FYE, and I said, well, why the hell not? Another good movie, Cat's Eye by Stephen King. And this is Drew Barrymore before she really became famous, and her face really hasn't changed much because she still looks like the same person. But this is The Adventures of a Cat. And apparently this is where one of my new favorite sayings, "You flying shithouse," comes from. But interesting movie. I'm going to give it that. Really interesting movie. And it has a really cool climax. Another Stephen King horror movie. Children of the Corn. I do not have any of the other Children of the Corn movies. I had a few of them a few years ago, but I got rid of them because they're all shit. Then the TV remake or whatever is shit. This movie was an original, and it was actually pretty good. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of dated by today's standards, and it does show that they were on a really low budget. But I enjoy it. If you don't like this movie, I can totally understand why. But, you know, Another movie I saw when I was younger, and it kind of really creeped the hell out of me when I was younger. That's another thing, too. The concept of children killing adults really creeps the hell out of me. Like, this movie has a vibe to it that for about the first half, till about in the ending, just kind of sticks, and it's really creepy and unsettling. But then the ending happens, and it kind of loses it in place of just kind of a traditional horror movie, or something like that. Another Stephen King horror movie, Christine, and I'm actually going to see that Friday night at the drive-in. Their last weekend, they're doing Retro Weekend. This is one of the movies they're going to have. But, good movie. It's about a haunted car that kills people. I like it. Another cool box set, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 30th Anniversary Ultimate Edition. And this includes the 1970s theatrical edition, the what the hell? Can't read the handwriting. Oh, hey, here we go. It includes the original theatrical version, the 1980s special edition, you know, where they show the inside of the ship, and the 1990s director's cut. So, why do I have a box set that includes the same movie 3 times? Because it was $10 at Barnes & Noble, and I said, why the hell not? I really want to see this movie, and my favorite edition's got to be the director's cut. Because it takes the best of the theatrical and special edition, and it's approved by Steven Spielberg. Yeah, that's right, he directed this movie. Moving on. First in this big thing is Cloverfield. The only handheld found footage, one of the few that got it right, and it was interesting to the end. Even though the ending was kind of subpar or disappointing if you don't like endings that end with everyone dying, spoiler alert. But I enjoyed it for what it is. And series, Code Lyoko, man. My favorite animation, Code Lyoko. And I don't really want to talk about Code Lyoko too much now, just letting you know I love it all. And I am going to do a video pretty soon for the 10th anniversary of Code Lyoko. Because that show is 10 years old. Next we have an action double feature, Collateral Damage and Eraser. Collateral Damage is kind of iffy. It's an alright action movie, but it could have been a lot better. Especially from the guy that brought us The Fugitive. But Eraser is one of Arnold's best and probably his most non-cliched, not over the top, tried to actually really take itself seriously and actually succeed with it, action movies. Eraser was actually really good. Because it actually was like the only serious Arnold Schwarzenegger action movie, besides the Terminator films. And speaking of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Conan, The Complete Quest. Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer. I've watched Conan the Barbarian, and it's so cheesy and over the top that I love it. And it's awesome when Arnold Schwarzenegger only says like a handful of lines in this movie. This is before the Terminator, so he couldn't speak English very good. But this is where that famous prayer comes from. Crom, I have never prayed to you before. I have no time for it. Valor pleases you, Crom. Grant me one wish, grant me revenge. And if you don't listen, then to hell with you. You know, the most backhanded prayer you ever heard. Or pretty much it's like, give me what I want, if not, fuck you. But, and Conan the Destroyer, I've only kind of watched bits and pieces of it. I never watched the whole thing, and it was alright, but it couldn't keep my attention, so I guess it was kind of stupid. But I love the original Conan the Barbarian. And an underrated science fiction movie that really, I think, should have done a lot better at the box office. I mean, I love it. And honestly, I think it's people like question it, why it took itself so seriously, but it took itself so seriously that it worked. Cowboys and Aliens, man. Why didn't this movie do better? I loved it. I mean, if you're questioning if the logic in a movie called Cowboys and Aliens, you don't question that logic. If there is no logic there to question. This movie knows what it is, and it takes itself very seriously and does a very good job with it. God, watch that movie, please. Another Stephen King movie, Cujo. about a rabid dog that traps two people in a car. And it's very dated. But I like it. It's got the mom from E.T. in it. MILF. Not really. Dante's Peak, starring James Bond. That's the only reason I bought it, because Pierce Brosnan's in it, man. And I like this movie more than I like Volcano. I don't know. Volcano is just such a freaking depressing movie, even though, yes, it's about a volcano. It's not going to be happy. People are dying from volcanoes, but I don't know. This movie I just like more than Volcano, because something about Volcano just, it really depresses the hell out of me, man. I don't know what it is. It just really depresses me. Maybe it's the firemen burning in the fire engine. But I like Dante's Peak. The Day After Tomorrow, directed by Roland Emmerich. This was probably his last movie that he made that people really connected with him with it. Where the critics were kind of liked it, and the general audience did. Nowadays, the critics really don't like his movies, but the audience seems to kind of hit and miss with him. But this is the last movie he made that the audience and critics kind of both liked, and so did I. Another Stephen King movie, The Dead Zone, starring Christopher Walken, where he can shake your hand and see how you're going to die or something you're going to do that's bad. And I read the book, and this is an incredible adaptation of the book, directed by a guy of a movie we're going to get to later, and I'll talk about that movie because it's about 10 away. But David Cronenberg. Remember that name. Sharks. You missed this one, Godzilla 419. Deep Blue Sea, man. And this is actually just the label is a label I printed out because I did buy this from Hollywood Video when they were going out of business. And there was like those Warner Brothers, fuck you Warner Brothers, that's done. Those old like Warner Brothers DVD cases they released where it was like made out of cardboard or whatever, you unclip it and you open it. That's what paper thing, cardboard thing was in there, and I didn't like it, so I printed out the label and threw the other one away. But probably of all the shark movies I've seen that have come out since Jaws, this is the only one that actually got it right. The movie that competed with Armageddon and people seem to like more, Deep Impact, and is produced by Steven Spielberg, and very serious take on an asteroid, and probably a lot more realistic than Armageddon. That's not saying much, though, is it? But we do get to see some city destruction, and the asteroid actually does hit the Earth, so it's not like a complete victory. Another underrated war movie, actually, starring Daniel Craig, and me and my dad love this movie, Defiance. Very underrated from the director of The Last Samurai. My throat's going to be killing me later. But Defiance, underrated. If you see it, I would really like to advise you to take a look at it. Very, very good movie. Daniel Craig is such a good actor. The remake of Rear Window, Disturbia. May or may not like it. I don't mind it. But as far as remakes go, it actually is a really good remake because it doesn't just rehash what the other one did. It tries to tell its own story through the same concept. And it worked, in my opinion. It's probably one of, if not the best movie that Shia LaBeouf actually really gives a good performance in. Great comedy, Dodgeball, man. Grab life by the balls. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. I've even seen a man satisfy a camel. Spare me. I won that tournament. Fucking Chuck Norris. Honestly, this is the movie I think that created the whole Chuck Norris's God thing or whatever. Because Chuck Norris gave the average Joes a thumbs up so they could play dodgeball, and he's like, thank you, Chuck Norris. Thank you, Peter. I wouldn't be surprised this is the movie that created the whole God complex surrounding Chuck Norris. But he is God. Dragonheart Collection, even though I'm only going to talk about the first Dragonheart because the second Dragonheart sucked. The first Dragonheart, starring Dennis Quaid. Same initials. And the CGI kind of dated, but Sean Connery voices the frickin' dragon. If Sean Connery is voicing a dragon, that is awesome. Dr. Dolittle 2-pack. This includes Dr. Dolittle and Dr. Dolittle 2, the only Dr. Dolittle movies I've seen, the only ones I will see. And I grew up watching these movies and I enjoy them, and I think the first Dr. Dolittle is hilarious. Second one's okay. It's okay, but I like it enough to own it in a double pack. The classic Dracula, starring Bela Lugosi. 75th Anniversary Edition. This is the fully restored edition. It also includes the original 1931 Spanish version, which everyone says is better. I haven't watched it yet, but man, I love this. This movie, if you're used to today's horror movies, it might not scare you at all, but this movie had such an atmosphere to it that was so creepy that it actually creeped me out. Steven Spielberg's first movie, Duel. One of my first movie reviews I actually did back in the day. This movie, Steven Spielberg knew how to make a Hitchcock movie. I want to put it that way, because this movie never shows who's driving the truck. We just see the truck chase the main guy, played by Dennis Weaver. And it knows how to keep that tension. I mean, it had some good jump scares in there, too. I mentioned this movie earlier, The Fugitive. One of the best adaptations ever, because it actually was based on a TV show. And it was nominated for Best Picture and everything, and it just broke box office records. And Harrison Ford, man, that dude knows how to act. And so does Tommy Lee Jones. I don't care! I didn't kill my wife. I don't care! It's Full Metal Jacket, man, by Stanley Kubrick. That's not what that quote's from. That's from Fugitive. Probably one of the best horror war movies ever, because it actually shows like the Marines go through boot camp and everything, and it shows the shit conditions they go through and the mental things that happen to them. And my uncle, my cousin, he's probably watching this. His father, my uncle, was actually in the Marines, and he was watching it with us one time when I was at my aunt's. And he even said that's exactly how they do it, man. That's exactly how they do it. And I got to give the movie credit for that. Stanley Kubrick, man, you definitely did your research. And the only other movie where Shia LaBeouf really gives a good performance, in my opinion, or at least I've seen, Eagle Eye, man. Critics didn't really like this movie, and as far as I understand, audiences weren't crazy about it either, but when I first saw this movie, I liked it so much, I actually made my mom go, because I watched it on demand, I made my mom go out the day after and buy it on DVD. I enjoyed it that much. Enemy of the State by Tony Scott, starring Will Smith and Gene Hackman. They are great on screen together. And just, this movie, man, is like the movie that created the government's watching you craze that's going on now, which the government is watching you. They're probably watching this video right now, the NSA, man. But Enemy of the State, good action movie. Suspenseful, too. One of the most underrated comedies I've ever seen. Evolution. Really underrated, man. This movie is it's really disappearing. And it's from the guy that did Ghostbusters, and I grew up watching this movie. Like, I know a lot of movies I grew up watching, but this one I really did grow up watching it, and I still think it's hilarious today. And if you haven't seen Evolution, seek it out and watch it. You'll get a good laugh out of it. I swear to God you will. The movie that's often quoted as the scariest movie of all time, The Exorcist. The only movie that scared me more than this movie is in here somewhere, and we'll get to it eventually. But I do like this movie, and for what it is, even though some of the effects are kind of dated nowadays, it still amazes me how good this movie looks, how great it is, and how effective it still is. Because people are still scared the hell out of them by watching this movie. And this was one of the last movies I ever saw that really affected me when I was trying to sleep. The only one movie, though, that really affected me when I was trying to sleep, that really made it impossible for me to sleep. And we'll get to it soon. The Expendables. I do not have The Expendables 2. My grandfather does. He lives downstairs, so that's why I don't have The Expendables 2, because I just borrowed from him for free. But this movie, if you had any expectations for it, you don't need to have expectations for it. It's The Expendables. They're just throwing all the action stars of the last 30 years together for one big epic hell of a movie where they just blow up a palace at the end for the hell of it. Another controversial movie, The Fifth Element. You either like or dislike this movie because it is kind of really bizarre. But I enjoy it for what it is. And who do we got in this movie? Oh, I just had a realization, but I'll talk about that later. But we got Gary Oldman, we got Bruce Willis, and Ian Holm and Chris Tucker in it. And we got Alice from fucking Resident Evil before she was Alice from Resident Evil. Mila Jovovich, or... Sorry about the cut, people. My camera's battery just gave out. So now I got it plugged in to show it done from the start. Moving on to our next movie, The Fly. It's directed by David Cronenberg, the guy that did The Dead Zone. Really... Why did Jeff Goldblum not win an Oscar for this movie? My God. Help me. Please help me. What I'm doing is going to change the face of the earth. Man, why did he not win an Oscar for that? The Fog, horror movie. You either like it or hate it. I like it. I'm Forrest Gump. Yeah, I like it. Forrest Gump, man. My mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. Never know what you're going to get. And this is Frankenstein. The original Frankenstein. And I'm going to point out, Frankenstein is the name of the doctor, not the monster. He's the Frankenstein monster. Put monster at the end of him. Boris Karloff is not Frankenstein. He is the Frankenstein monster. Or just the monster. Okay? The doctor's name is Dr. Frankenstein. Free Willy. Michael Jackson sang songs for this movie. Of course I'm going to watch it, but I grew up watching it, so not a nostalgic movie for me. These are a trilogy. Friday the 13th, part 1, 2, 3, and the final chapter. Because this is where I stop. This is where the movie stopped being good. Alright? The first 4 Friday the 13th movies are the only ones I recognize as actually good movies. All the others can suck it for all I care. They all suck after that. George Lopez, the first and second season. Why do they not make the rest of the seasons on DVD? Come on, Warner Brothers, even though I fucking hate your guts. Release these on freaking DVD or something. Come on. Man, I love that series and they're not doing it. Get Smart, another great comedy with Steve Carell for the very same reasons why I love Date Night, is why I love this movie. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Really underrated drama in my opinion. I really think you should check this out if you haven't already. Godfather Part 2. One of the best sequels ever made. I gotta watch this again soon because... Really, I gotta watch this again soon. And Godfather Part 3, I gotta watch this again because I kind of really missed a lot of things when I first saw it. Gojira, or Godzilla King of the Monsters. The first Godzilla movie, black and white. This movie is historical. It kicks a whole lot of ass. Alright, now the next couple movies are lot of movies are Godzilla movies. I'm gonna go through them as quickly as I can. Godzilla Raids Again, sequel to Gojira, really good. Godzilla vs. King Kong, probably the most iconic one. Love it. Godzilla vs. Mothra, also known as Godzilla vs. The Thing. I think it's really good. Watched it a lot when I was a kid. Godzilla, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. First time where Godzilla gets to fight really more than one monster, and he also starts to become the good guy. Still good movie, though. Invasion of the Astro Monster. Good. Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. Good. Destroy All Monsters. Awesome. Godzilla's Revenge sucks. Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster is a hit and miss, kind of. Some people like it, some people don't. Why am I putting those there? It's okay though. I do enjoy it. Godzilla vs. Gigan is awesome. Terror of Mechagodzilla is awesome. I am missing a few Godzilla movies. I know I am. I'm currently in the process of hunting them down. I know I'm missing Son of Godzilla, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, and I'm also missing Godzilla 1985. And that's it. Godzilla vs. Biollante. This one was my favorite one growing up, and it's still one of my favorites now. Godzilla vs. Ghidorah and Godzilla vs. Mothra, Battle for the Earth. Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah and Godzilla and Mothra, The Battle for the Earth. Two awesome movies. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. Cool. Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla and Godzilla vs. Destroyer. Both awesome. Godzilla 2000, the first Godzilla movie I saw on the big screen, and boy, I loved it. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. It's okay. Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All-Out Attack. Pretty good. Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. Really good. Godzilla, Tokyo SOS. Awesome. Godzilla Final Wars. Freaking awesome. Godzilla, the 1998 American-made movie. And I grew up. I have nostalgia for it. That's the only reason I really like it, but besides that, if I took my nostalgia out of it, it's a really bad Godzilla movie because it really has nothing to do with Godzilla. The name is there for advertising purposes only. But if I look at it as just a monster movie, it's entertainable. The Golden Compass, underrated. I think it deserves more recognition than it got. It needs a sequel. I want to see that sequel, man. The Goonies, what's your name? Jacob something. The review of this movie is coming, believe me. It's on my list of things to do, man. But I love this movie. Steven Spielberg wrote the story. How can I not like it? One of my favorite comedies, The Great Outdoors. Kicks ass. The Green Mile, worthy of every award it won. Fuck you, Warner Brothers. Your logo should not be on this movie. And also, Michael Clare Duncan sadly passed away last year, I think. He was awesome in that movie. He deserved the Oscar he won, I believe. Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. Terrific comedy. Halloween, the original, and Halloween 2, and Halloween H2O, the only Halloween movies that are good. These movies are all awesome. This one's the best one, though. I'm going to do a special review for that pretty soon for Halloween. Okay, now we have the what I call the Hannibal Lecter movies. We have Manhunter, Silence of the Lambs, and Hannibal. Misery's in there. I'll talk about that in a second. But these are good. Manhunter's really good. Silence of the Lambs is the best, and Hannibal's really entertainable. Alright, so Misery quick. Misery is a terrific Stephen King movie, and really well adapted from the book. I did read the book, with the exception of the hobbling part, where she actually cuts off his foot in the book. But the movie is much more subtle, and Kathy Bates definitely deserved that Oscar. Here we go. I was waiting for one of these to show up. The Happening, written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Hold it in. Hold it in. He used to be a really great writer and director, and I did enjoy The Happening, even though Mark Wahlberg's performance is laughable. I enjoyed it in a weird way, you might say. It was back when I used to really love movies. Or I could love any movie, no matter how bad it was. And there was a movie that snapped me out of that, and we're going to get to that movie soon. Happy Gilmore, man. Adam Sandler's best, in my opinion. Okay, as quick as I possibly can read these off, because it's another collection. It's going to kill my voice later. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. I already previously mentioned, I love that franchise. It's one of my favorites. Good, another franchise. Hellboy and Hellboy 2. I love Hellboy 2. First one I thought was awesome when I was a kid. Ron Perlman, Perlman or Perlman, however you say his name. He kicks ass as Hellboy, and I really want to see them make a third Hellboy movie. The Hindenburg, another underrated 70s movie directed by Robert Wise. Great. I really enjoyed this movie, but this movie is very dialogue heavy. Not a whole lot of action happens in it. So I'm just going to say, if you don't like movies that really take their time, this is not for you. But I like these kind of movies, and the effects still hold up really well in my opinion. Here we go. Thank God I can just review these all at once. Home Alone 2 are the only good ones. I laugh more at this one, but just like Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2, even though I laugh more at this one, I love the part with the staple gun. This one's definitely better. Looky, I got Hooky. Steven Spielberg, man. He knows how to make good movies, and Hook is a good movie. The Incredible Hulk, I liked it more than the 2003 Hulk, but it had some work. If they ever make a sequel, Mark Ruffalo, I think, is going to do a much better job than Edward Norton. Alright? I don't know. Edward Norton is the Hulk, man. I never saw it. Yes, finally. The Hunger Games. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I never read the books. I know, people. I know. I'm going to read the books eventually. I know. Okay? I know. I will read them eventually. I promise. But I really enjoyed the movie. I thought the movie was excellent. I'm going to read the books. I promise. You don't have to tell me to read the books. I will read them. I Am Legend. Start with Will Smith. Awesome. Thank God. Small pile. Oh, man. My throat's killing me now, guys. I know what you did last summer, and I still know what you did last summer. I love the first one. That is the definition of teen horror. The sequel's okay, but the first one's definitely a lot better. And Jennifer Love Hewitt, man. Jennifer Love Hewitt. Some kind of predator. Thank God, another trilogy. Indiana Jones, Rise of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I love all these movies, even Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Okay? I do. Even though, yes, this one does have problems. I know it has problems. But they're by Spielberg, and to say the least, all these movies are directed excellently. I love all of them, man. I really do. Independence Day, the best action movie to come out of the 90s. One of them, anyway. Aliens come down and blow shit up. If you're going to criticize this movie, you really don't understand movies, do you? It's a movie about aliens that come down to Earth and they blow shit up. What else did you expect? I, Robot, underrated Will Smith movie. I really enjoy it. Here we go. Thank you for these things that make it so much quicker. Iron Man and Iron Man 2. Iron Man is like one of the best superhero movies ever made. You may or may not like Iron Man 2, but I really enjoyed it. I will not be getting Iron Man 3 when it comes out because I really was disappointed with Iron Man 3. And that's all I'm going to say about it. The movie I saw 3 times last year, Jack Reacher. My God, Tom Cruise, you kill it as this character. And I don't care if you're technically not as tall as Jack Reacher in the book. You kill it, man. You know how to do it. My dad is reading the books, and he says the movie was very faithful to the book. Alright, we got James Bond here, people. We got some James Bond. Let's get all of them now. Alright. Okay, I'm just going to point out, I love all these James Bond movies. I love them all, and if I don't love one of them, I will tell you I don't love it. Dr. No. From Russia with Love. Goldfinger. Thunderball. You Only Live Twice. On Her Majesty's Secret Service is okay. Diamonds Are Forever. Live and Let Die. The Man with the Golden Gun is, it's good. It's not great, but it's good. The Spy Who Loved Me. Moonraker. You might hate it, but I love it. For your eyes only, I gotta watch this one again. I kind of fell asleep while I was watching it the first time. Octopussy. You might hate it, but I love it. A View to a Kill. Couldn't keep my attention at all. Living Daylights. License to Kill. Goldeneye, my favorite. Tomorrow Never Dies. World Is Not Enough. Die Another Day. Casino Royale. Quantum of Solace. You might hate it, but I love it. I do have Skyfall. It is on Blu-ray. I do not have it with me at the moment. My cousin is currently borrowing it, and I gotta get it back real soon. Okay? Another Schwarzenegger movie, Kindergarten Cop. The original classic, King Kong in black and white. It's the effects, but they were great back at the time, I can imagine. This movie was the 1930s version of Jurassic Park or Avatar. It's great. And you might hate it or love this movie. I love the 2005 Peter Jackson's King Kong, man. I love it. Here we go. Labyrinth. Man, David Bowie, he really knows how to give a performance. My God, that part with the ball and everything, and just this movie is like just such a good. It's a really good movie. Lake Placid, a self-aware. Oh shit. I would just like to point out that the next word in the L's is last. No. Oh crap. But Lake Placid, best crocodile movie we've ever seen. The Last fucking Airbender. Fuck you. I got a review coming that's gonna burn you to shreds. The Last Boy Scout. Awesome. Underrated, but really awesome. Check it out. Lawrence of Arabia, one of the greatest movies ever made. No doubt. Liar Liar with Jim Carrey, man. That dude is hilarious. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. Lord of the Rings, Two Towers. Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. I love all of them. They are. Sorry, I'm really just trying to go quick here. My throat is starting to hurt. The Mask with Jim Carrey. One of my favorite Jim Carrey movies. The Mask of Zorro, man. Do you know how to use that thing? Yes. Point the angles into the other man. Antonio Banderas and frickin' Anthony Hopkins and Catherine Zeta-Jones. They're all awesome, man. The Matrix Reloaded, and The Matrix Revolutions. I have never watched the Animatrix. I should, though. My favorite's The Matrix, then Matrix Revolutions, then Reloaded, then Revolutions. Revolutions, okay, but you watch Revolutions for the final battle between the Agent Smith and Neo. You don't watch the rest of the movie. You watch the ending battle. Reloaded was really good, though. But The Matrix is still the best one. Yes. Men in Black and Men in Black 2. The first Men in Black is awesome. Men in Black 2, you may or may not like it, but I enjoyed it. I watched it a lot as a kid. I don't have Men in Black 3, but I did see it, and I really enjoyed it. Minority Report with Tom Cruise, freaking awesome. Mortal Kombat, the first one is awesome. Mortal Kombat Annihilation sucks a dick. Okay, another franchise, thank you. Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Narnia, Prince Caspian, that one was alright. I love this one. This one's okay. I really enjoyed this one. The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I always say the Dawn of the Voyage Treader for some reason. I don't know why I say that, but it's the Voyage of the Dawn Treader. My favorite Robin Williams movie? Mrs. Doubtfire. Well, you know what they say about a man with a big car. He's trying to compensate for something. Buzz off, asshole! My first day as a woman, I'm already getting heat flashes. Such a great comedy. Here we go. Something with Nicolas Cage. There's a man over there with a bomb. I gotta steal the Declaration of Independence. I want to kill the President of the United States. Yeah, National Treasure and National Treasure 2, Book of Secrets. I really enjoyed the first one. The second one's okay. If you don't like these movies, I understand why. Nicolas Cage is kind of a... You either like him or you don't like him. Oh, thank God these things just keep coming in trilogies. Night at the Museum and Night at the Museum 2, Battle for the Smithsonian. I enjoy both of these. Ben Stiller and the whole cast, they're great. Oh, we are halfway there, people. We are over halfway there. Small pile here. Nightmare on Elm Street and Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Until recently, I did have all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but I got rid of them because the only ones I like are the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and I love Freddy's Dead. I think Freddy's Dead is hilarious. It's like when Freddy becomes like, he kills people with comedy at this point. And I think it's funny as hell. Okay, Oblivion with Tom Cruise. Recent, came out. One of the most interesting, to say the least, science fiction movies of the year. If you haven't checked it out, I really would like you to check it out. I don't want to talk about it because it is new. So no spoilers here. Outbreak. This is a really good virus movie. And it's kind of creepy, too. Yes. Remember The Exorcist? How I said there was one movie that scared me more than The Exorcist? That was the first Paranormal Activity. Alright, the second Paranormal Activity is pretty good. They definitely tried to capture the feel of the first one, but they didn't exactly get it. But they tried. And the third one, I enjoyed the third one. I'm not going to buy any more of them because it should just be a trilogy, man. Fucking hate 4. But the first Paranormal Activity scared the shit out of me. I cannot sleep the first night I saw the first Paranormal Activity. Never has a movie bothered me that much. And probably never will again. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I love the first movie. It still creeps me out to this day. It really does. Especially when that part where the shadow moves across the door, man. Just as soon as I see that, like, literally, my whole body just, like, all the hairs on my body raise. And it's scary as hell. I love it. Patriot with Mel Gibson. Freedom! From the British. Good movie. The extended cut's over 3 hours long. It's cool. Another Stephen King movie. Pet Sematary. Sometimes the dead is better. I actually probably really sound like Judd because my throat's like so dry it's hurting. Pirates of the Caribbean, man. Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. I enjoy all 4 of these movies. The first one is the best one. The second one I saw in theaters. I saw the third one in theaters, and I saw the fourth one in theaters, and I enjoy them. They're pirate movies. If you really honestly have like really high expectations for movies about pirates and magic and shit, really? They're pirate movies, for God's sakes. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, one of the best movies to watch around Thanksgiving time. Platoon, one of the best war movies ever. Prince of Persia, you may like it, you might not, but in my opinion, this and Mortal Kombat are the best video game adaptations ever. Oh, and that main chick is hot. Polar Express, terrific animation movie. Always watch that around Christmas. Thank God these keep coming in trilogies. Poltergeist and Poltergeist 2 and 3. The second Poltergeist I like it. The third one's, yeah. The first one, though, is great. And I call this a Steven Spielberg movie. For the main reason is because if Steven Spielberg was not directing E.T. at the time, he would have done this movie. But instead, Tobe Hooper, the guy that brought us Texas Chainsaw Massacre, directed it, and he did a good job with it. Here we go. Poseidon Adventure, classic adventure movie of survival, and it really holds up well today. I mean, a lot of it's kind of hard to believe nowadays that this would all happen, but terrific adventure movie about survival. Here we go. Thank God these are coming in trilogies, man. Predator, Predator 2, and Predators. I love the first Predator. Some people do not like Predator 2, but honestly, I think Predator 2 really is underrated. I really enjoyed it because I grew up watching it as a kid. And I love the part where the old woman says it's to Danny Glover. I don't think he gives a shit. And Predators, they really tried to capture that feel of the original Predator. And I think they succeeded. Now let's go off this fucking planet. Yeah, seriously, let's hurry this up. Prometheus. A lot of people were really mixed about this movie. To answer your question, is it a prequel to Alien? Yes and no. It takes place before the original Alien, in the same universe as the original Alien. But is it necessarily a direct prequel? Not necessarily. It's like it's a spin-off prequel. Okay, that's what it is. It's a spin-off prequel. Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis. That's your classic horror movie right there. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Classic, man. Pulp Fiction with cheese. This movie, I don't even have to say anything about Pulp Fiction. You guys know that that movie is great. Rear Window, another Alfred Hitchcock movie. Terrific. This is what Disturbia is a remake of. We are about 70% done, people. I swear we are. But that's not saying much because that's not going to get us through this any quicker. Okay. Reign of Fire. One of the first movies of Gerard Butler, Matthew McConaughey, and hey, Christian Bale, and dragons kick ass. Riddick, man. I love the new Riddick, and I love Pitch Black, and I enjoy the Chronicles of Riddick. Okay? Robin Hood, where Kevin Costner doesn't even attempt to do a British accent with Morgan Freeman, a black guy in the Middle Ages. Islamic, by the way. And it's all awesome. It really is. RoboCop and RoboCop 2. First RoboCop, man, this movie, this is like another 80s movie that's action. It just kicks ass. Second RoboCop 2, they definitely really tried to go for the feel of these first RoboCop, but it kind of was a hit and miss. But I used to have the third one. I got rid of the third one because the third one just sucks. First one's the best one, though. Like many things. Rodan, great monster movie. Well, not great, but entertainable. Saving Private Ryan, great war movie by Steven Spielberg. He deserved that Oscar for Best Director. Say hello to my little friend! Scarface Platinum Edition in freaking hard case with fully restored. I don't even need to get this movie on Blu-ray because it's so awesome in this DVD. I mean, that is an awesome DVD case. Seven, one of the creepiest and darkest horror movies I've had. It's not even a horror movie, this is a thriller, and it thrills. It's a thriller, man. David Fincher, one of the best movies ever, Shawshank Redemption. Morgan Freeman is basically God in this movie. And speaking of which, he plays God in a later movie called Bruce Almighty, which I don't have in my collection, but my parents have it. Oh, thank God these keep coming in trilogies, man. Sherlock Holmes and Sherlock Holmes, The Game of Shadows. Love both of these. Robert Downey Jr., man. He definitely is Sherlock. The Shining. Here's Johnny. Great action, great horror movie. One of my favorites. Short Circuit. Need input. Input. Really entertainable. If you got kids, they'll like it. Back when you were great. Signs, man. In my opinion, M. Night Shyamalan's last great movie. And I love this movie. You might not. I do. I love it. Why did he stop making great movies? Another M. Night Shyamalan movie. You all seen this one. Sixth Sense. I See Dead People. It's great. One of my favorite animated movies ever. Like probably my second favorite. Sleeping Beauty. I love movies about dragons. I really can't wait to see freaking Angelina Jolie playing Maleficent in that live-action Disney movie coming out pretty soon. An underrated movie, in my opinion, Small Soldiers. I enjoyed it a lot. I saw it as a kid, and it's like the grown-up version of Toy Story. I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. Snakes on a Plane needs no introduction. The title describes it all. It's that cool. Speed, man. Keanu Reeves. You know how to do it, man. Speed. Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man 3. Kristen Dunst, or whoever the hell is her name, that plays Mary Jane. She's hot. Tobey Maguire, he does a pretty good job as Spider-Man, I'm not going to lie. I love the first Spider-Man, saw it in the theaters. Spider-Man 2, really enjoy it. This one's kind of a hit and miss. You might like it, you might not. Spider-Man 3 is alright. Here we go. Stakeout. Great comedy with Richard Dreyfuss and Emilio Estevez. Before we talk about this one, I might as well get out this big box set over here because it technically is part of it. And actually, speaking of which, even though this isn't part of the alphabet, it's kind of, well, it's in the S's, but it's kind of out at this point. Might as well talk about it because I don't want to go back to it later on. Scream, the entire box set. It's not in my it's in my collection, it's just not in the collection with all the movies because it's such a big box set. It doesn't fit. Takes up too much room, but this is Scream, Scream 2, and Scream 3. I enjoy all three of them. Third one, not that much, but Scream 4, or Screform as the title is called, I enjoy even more than number 3. Okay? Here we go. Fan favorite right here. The entire Star Trek box set with these huge-ass DVD cases. You know why this isn't in my collection, but I love this case. I mean, my God. And it's got Star Trek The Motion Picture, Star Trek The Wrath of Khan, Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, Star Trek 5, The Final Frontier, That Sucks, Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, Star Trek Generations, Star Trek First Contact, Star Trek Insurrection, and Star Trek Nemesis. Or Nemesis. Okay, now, one person I talked to recently does not like this movie. I love it, and a lot of people love it. And it's the very reason why it was so popular, because it tried to take Star Trek to finally be multi and to reach out to everybody, not just its specific fan group. That is Star Trek, the 2009 reboot. That is awesome, man. I love this movie. Oh yeah, here we go. What comes after Star Trek? Why, it's competition. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Star Wars. Or Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. The Empire Strikes Back, or Star Wars Episode 5. Yeah. And Return of the Jedi, or Star Wars Episode 6. I'm going to say something right now. I do like the prequels, okay? I do like the prequels. Whether or not you do is up to your opinion. I grew up watching the prequels, so I have a lot of nostalgia for them. Star Wars Revenge of the Sith was the first Star Wars movie I saw on the big screen, alright? And I saw that with my dad, and it was great. It was the day before I had a surgery done with my hip and my jaw or whatever, and it had the best of the prequels, without a doubt. Attack of the Clones is the worst of the prequels, without a doubt. And Phantom Menace, it's okay. When there's action happening, it's okay. But Revenge of the Sith is my favorite of the prequels, alright? And I don't need to say anything about the original trilogy. They're all perfect films, with Empire Strikes Back being one of the best movies ever made. Super 8. Terrific movie by J.J. Abrams. Here we go. My favorite superhero. Superman 1, Superman 2, Superman 3, and Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. These two are awesome. The first two are awesome. The last two suck. And Man of Steel was awesome, man. I love Man of Steel. That is one of my favorite movies of the year. And I will get that on Blu-ray when it comes out. I do not have Superman Returns because I don't really care for it. Super Mario Brothers. I'm sorry. I have this movie for a few reasons. One, because it's such a bad movie that I get such a big kick out of it. And because I actually think Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo, or whatever they pronounce that fucking last name, actually do, in my opinion, were actually pretty good cast as Luigi and Mario. Even though the people they were playing really had absolutely nothing to do with the characters in the video game. The video game should have always been an animated adaptation, not live action. But I enjoy it because I get a good laugh out of it, because it's so bad that it's good, in my opinion. Taken, this movie's on FX every day. You have seen it by now. Liam Neeson is God. Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, the only Will Ferrell movie I like. Thank God I keep getting franchises. The historical Terminator, I'll Be Back. Terminator 2 blew it away. It was awesome. One of the best sequels ever. James Cameron's awesome. Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines I liked a lot more as a kid, but as I'm older now, it's kind of alright. Not perfect, but it's alright. A lot of people didn't like Terminator Salvation, but I actually really enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie. I'm not saying it's good or anything. I'm just saying I did enjoy it. Thank God. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Steel Case Edition. The classic is a classic. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, the dark comedy sequel. Because that's pretty much what it is. It's dark comedy. It's okay, though. It had a good jump scare in it. And Michael Bay's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake, and the prequel to the remake. In terms of horror movie remakes, these are probably one of the best ones. That's not 100% saying much, though. Ah, yes. John Carpenter's The Thing. Oh, boy, I love this movie. One of the best prequels ever made, The Thing. Prequel to John Carpenter's The Thing. Awesome prequel. Haven't seen it. Check it out. It's kind of underrated. I love Michael Jackson, and I love This Is It. I saw this in theaters, and every single song I was singing along with it. Titanic. I'm flying. I'm the king of the world. You've seen that movie by now. It's good. Tower Heist. Underrated comedy that came out a few years ago. Easy to find. Check it out. It's got a good cast, and Eddie Murphy's back to being funny again. Alright, people. Home stretch here. This is it. Last pile. Man, this is taking too long. Okay, here we go. The Towering Inferno and Volcano. The Towering Inferno was a great survival movie that came out at the same time as Poseidon Adventure. It was during that survival movie craze. It's really good. Volcano, that's the movie I talked about earlier that was really depressing to me. It's okay. It's not bad. It's really depressing. I don't like movies that make me feel all depressed. You know, that movie makes you feel depressed, but if it makes you feel happy at the end, that's different. Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Get your ass to Mars. 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 This is my case and I need it. Fuck you, you asshole! So watching Arnold Schwarzenegger yell at an older woman is so funny. Transformers, directed by Michael Bay. Transformers. The sequel everybody hated, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, but I didn't mind it 100%. It's watchable to me, but I do not love it. And the sequel where Michael Bay kind of said, you know what, I'm going to try and make this good for a change, but maybe it's probably not that good. Transformers Dark of the Moon, it's okay. Better than the sequel, to say the least. Tremors The Attack Pack with Tremors, Tremors 2 Aftershocks, Tremors 3 Back to Perfection, and Tremors 4 The Legend Begins. Oh! My God, I'm running out of voice here. I love all 4 of these movies. They're all really good. My favorite one's the first one with Kevin Bacon, and then the second one. Third one's okay. Fourth one is a prequel, and it's okay. What inspired Code Lyoko, I'm sure. Before I saw this movie, I always thought The Matrix was what inspired Code Lyoko, but now I know Tron is what inspired Code Lyoko. And for 1982, man, these effects were phenomenal for 1982. I mean, really, you gotta admire. This movie's effects don't hold up well today, but for 1982, you really gotta give that movie credit for what it was. Tron Legacy, the sequel to Tron, I enjoyed it. True Lies, Arnold Schwarzenegger, awesome. Twister, watched it a lot when I was a kid. You might hate it. I enjoy it. 2001: A Space Odyssey, and 2010, the year we made contact. This is one of the greatest movies ever made. This is an extremely underrated sequel that deserves a lot more recognition than it gets. Please check it out. And you don't need to watch the first one. This one does explain what happens in the first one. Because I know a lot of people really can't sit through 2001: A Space Odyssey. I know that. 2012, a lot of people did not like it. It was okay to me. You're seeing the world get destroyed. That's what you're going to see. 2.5 Men, Season 1. Two and a Half Men Season 2. Two and a Half Men Season 3. Two and a Half Men Season 4. Two and a Half Men Season 5. Two and a Half Men Season 6. Two and a Half Men Season 7. Two and a Half Men Season 8. Charlie Sheen's no longer in it to this point. Two and a Half Men Season 9 with Ashton Kutcher. It's okay. But I love that franchise. That series is hilarious. It's comical. UV 571. Really good action movie. Really good suspense movie, too. My God, this movie had me in some serious suspense when the first time I saw it. It was really good. Check it out if you can. Another great John Candy comedy, Uncle Buck. Unstoppable. Had to go buy this movie after I watched it on demand. I loved it. Really good, intense. Untouchables, great movie with Kevin Costner, Charles Martin Smith, Andy Garcia, Robert De Niro, and Sean Connery. The Walking Dead complete second season. It's awesome, man. Check out that series if you haven't. War Horse. My cousin didn't like this movie, but I can understand why. It's a movie about it's about the Chronicles of a Horse during World War I. I love it. It's by Steven Spielberg, man. You can't beat that dude. War of the Worlds. You might hate this remake, but I love it. The only reason I hate it is because Justin Chatwin is a terrible actor. He's the kid that plays them. We get back at them because we gotta get back at them because we get back at them because we're gonna get back at them. Like from Europe? No, Robbie, not like from Europe. My God, that guy doesn't know how to act. But Tom Cruise and Steven Spielberg saved this movie, and so does Dakota Fanning. It's Wayne's World, party time, excellent. Wayne's World and Wayne's World 2, terrific comedy of the 90s. Check them out. Guilty pleasure for me. Wild Wild West. It's a guilty pleasure, man. I watched it a lot as a kid. Willow, underrated fantasy movie by George Lucas, actually, and Ron Howard, if you believe that. That was my poor attempt to do the X-Files theme. X-Files, Fight the Future, the first movie, and X-Files, I Want to Believe. They need to make a third one, man. Now, I will say I never watched the TV show. My aunt watched it, but I gotta say I really enjoy these movies, so I really should check out the TV show one of these days. And if you've seen the TV show, let me know if it's good or not, because I really would like to check it out one of these days. And if you say it's good, I will. Vin Diesel, man. Triple X. He does something for me. That movie was awesome. Here we go. There's a blast from the past. Almost done, people. Yu-Gi-Oh! This is the season... This is what I... the Yu-Gi-Oh! DVDs I have are the Enter the Shadow Realm ones, Back to Battle City, The Darkness Returns, Clash in the Coliseum, Battle for the Bronze, and the Final Face-Off. They are the conclusion to Battle City arc. I put it this way. You got Season 1 for Yu-Gi-Oh! That's when they're on the Duelist Kingdom where Pegasus and all that. You got Season 2. That's when they're doing Battle City and everything. Then you got Season 3 is what I call it. That's when they're stuck in Noah's virtual world. Then you got Season 4, which is the Final Face-Off and all that. And I loved Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid. And I have those because that's the best arc of the franchise, in my opinion. And we have, of the big three monster animes of Pokemon, Digimon, and Yu-Gi-Oh!, the movie of Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie. The only movie that actually explains everything in order for you to watch it without seeing the show, man. None of the other freaking Digimon the movie and Pokemon the movie don't explain anything. You have to watch the show before you watch the movie. You don't have to do that. You can watch this movie without having seen the show. It explains everything. We're at the end here, people. Zathura. Underrated movie. Check it out, please. It's great. And also, this movie explains why Kristen Stewart's face never changes, because she gets frozen in this movie. I've been wanting to use that joke forever. Last, but it's definitely not least, Zero Dark 30. The Hunt for Bin Laden. Great movie. Should have won some Academy Awards. I think it did. But, great movie, man. Peace. people, that is my entire movie collection. Ah, my God. Oh my God, my throat is so sore right now. Oh, hope you enjoyed that. I will not be doing another one of these. I may every now and then to show you new movies I buy, but that's pretty much it. Okay? Oh, that is a lot of movies. And I forgot to mention something. If someone out there actually can count how many movies I have and tells me, the first person to do it will get a subscribe from me and a mention in my next video. The next video I'm going to do, before I start doing individual reviews of video games and stuff like that, and movies and music and other things, before I start doing those, the last thing I want to do is another collection review, and that is my video game collections. Probably expect that out next week. I want to do it maybe this Friday at the earliest, but you can expect it out at least at the earliest next week. At the earliest this Friday, and no later than next week though. But that won't be as bad as this. So, I hope you all enjoyed this video. And if you actually sat through the whole thing, you're awesome. But I'm going to go get a nice long drink of water now. Then I'm going to probably take a shower and go to bed. Or maybe I'll edit this. I don't know. Well, hope you enjoyed this video, people. Peace out.